You keep throwing out really interesting points, and I want to come back to because at the beginning of the answer there, you talked about an internal company culture. To the question about how do we create a team dynamic, right? A company dynamic that can focus on these emotional paths to get these kind of outcomes. And you said you have to have the right company culture. And we know that to deliver the kind of outcomes that you're talking about, there's got to be significant training, significant investment in the internal teams. We want low turnover, like all the things that are traditional, right? But retaining good people is really hard. Attracting good people and retaining good people is really hard. And especially if you can get them to the point where they can really deliver a champion growth model, like you're talking about here. But if they're engaged, does that help engage as an employee and feel like they're catered to from an empathetic, from an emotional perspective, that they're safe, that they're important? Is that an important part of this champion growth model? Their engagement and then the halo effect?
Absolutely. Because if you think about any relationships, if you're in a room and you're talking to a group of 20 people and those 20 people are just looking away or looking down, or basically you hit out the most passionate pitch that you've ever given. And if you don't feel like that pitch is resonating or that people care, like your passion is going to start to be immediately impacted. Right. And then so it goes. Right. So 100% true. People that show up well need to feel like them showing up well is worth something, right? That they have to feel that. And without that, they're never really going to be able to lean into that growth mindset because they're going to show up inauthentically with the customer. And there's an interesting data point. So there's a woman by the name of Frances Fry. I don't know if she still teaches at Harvard, but she was a Harvard professor. She's wrote a few books, one with her spouse, Ann Morse. But one of the things she talks about is this trust triangle, right? And what she talks about there is there's three vectors to it. One is effectively logic, right? Do people understand natively what you're doing or why? The second one is authenticity. And the third one is empathy. And either one of those three don't show up, you're not going to garner trust. So if you go back to your original question, people who don't feel like the work they're doing is being seen, then they're not going to show up authentically. And that will immediately be the first break point in people feeling a sense of connection or trust.